Hello, welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well out there today. I'm Laura, and I'm so glad you stopped by to watch this video. Thank you so much. Today we'll be making this little journal out of a bubble mailer, and it goes from start to finish. So if you'd like to see how this was made, I would love to visit with you, and so let's get started. So I've got my glue mixed with some water to make it easier to use, and I'm going to cover the whole outside of this bubble wrap. I need to be sure and cover it really well, getting in all the nooks and crannies so that it will adhere to the fabric all the way around and not peel up or have any bubbles. I'm going to lay this down on it and just press down on it. And you might add a little extra glue to the edges. Hold it down well. Then once you've done that on one side, then flip it over and press out the other side. I like that this fabric is already wrinkly, I guess you'd say, and that's the look that I'm going for on this. It's not like a perfect, flat, seamless type of look. This is meant to be sort of wrinkly and I don't think grungy is the right word, but just definitely not perfectly smooth. And then I'm gonna cut the corners off so there's not so much bulk to it. And I'm gonna cover this fabric with the glue. And it's gonna be covered up so it doesn't have to be even or perfect by any means. And then I'm gonna fold it up and press it down. Okay, now I am going to let this dry and then come back and cover the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole surface of this with the glue. Okay, it's dry now, and I'm just going to cut this excess off of it and get as close to the edge as I can. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before or not, but I work right next to the windows, and I like to have them up and open, and sometimes the air conditioner unit kicks on, or the heating unit, and it makes this noise, so I apologize for that. Sometimes I get up and close the window, but sometimes I forget, and like right now it's on, I know, so I will go ahead and get all of this cut off of here and then come back when that unit shuts off again. What I decided to do is put this flower mesh all around the outside and sew it on, and then trim the excess off. Okay, now I've sewn around it. I've used a small zigzag stitch and stayed as close to the edge as I could, and I've done the front and the back. I'm going to go ahead now and cut off all the excess and tie off the strings. I love how this sounds using a bubble mailer. That is a really neat sound that this journal is going to make. And I'm going to put this fabric image on top, and I'm thinking I made these little flowers out of that fabric, and also I got this fabric, and I got so much of it. I bought a skirt at Goodwill, so I have so much of this, and I've used it in some of my projects, and so that's a way to get nice lace. I think I paid maybe like $2 for that skirt or something, and so I've really enjoyed that fabric. And so I've made these little flowers, and I'm thinking I'm going to use one of them here, and then I thought on the back I would take one of these and one of the pearls that I also got in a thrift store haul some time ago, and just add those like this. I like how that gives it a little more dimension. So now time to work on the cover, and as I've worked with it, I have had some changes of mind as far as how well the fabric goes with it, and there was a lot of gray on here that I just thought, I don't know, it doesn't go as well anymore now that I've added the green, and also felt like it needed a bit of white behind it. So I've got an old mask from the lockdown that I've taken apart, and the lining from it is white, and it'll work for the back, so I've put that behind it. And then to make this stand up a little bit, I had another sticker that was already made, and I just peeled this bottom piece off and put that on there to give it a little bit more dimension now that I've added these stickers here. And then I had this fabric leaf that I got in a haul of a bunch of paper and fabric flowers from a thrift store, and I thought I could just put that right in there. I sewed around the edges of the top piece, the white and the flower. Then I glued down the flowers, and then I glued this piece that I sewed onto the top, and I used this glue, just putting it all over the back of this. And I'm going to put on these small book corners to protect the edges. I'm going to put this lace in here, and I'm going to sew it in by hand and make a belly band on the front and the back. And then I'm going to use this eyelet through the back and attach this string to use as my closure. I've attached the belly band. I hand sewed it with this thread, so it kind of blends in, but I just put a few stitches there that'll hold it in place. And I didn't sew the middle because when I bind the book, that's gonna hold it in place. So I added the eyelet to hold the thread for the closure. I'm just gonna pull out like about 3 times the length or the width of the book, and snip that off there. And then the way I'm going to attach it is by putting it through like this, and then pulling the thread through it, and that holds it in place nicely. And I'm going to tie a knot. And then when I'm ready to close it, because I added that extra dimension, I can just wrap around underneath that and it will close and hold it together. I think I'm going to use one of these dragonflies and just tie it off. And yeah, I'm just going to use this one dragonfly. And I've already wrapped it around about as many times as I would want to use it for the closure, and I'm going to tie a knot. So I kind of want the dragonfly to hang about right there, I guess, when the journal's closed. So I just need to tie the knot there. And then I'm going to cut the ends off and fray them out with the comb, and that will be my closure for this journal. Okay, now it's time to work on the signature. I'm just going to have one excuse me, one signature in this journal, and this is the set of things I'm going to work with. And then I have these two clothing tags. I'm going to be covering these, and then I have this piece of junk mail. I'm going to use this to make a writing board, and I think I'm going to cover it with this handkerchief on one side. So I will show some of this on camera, not every single thing. The first thing I'm going to do is put together the pages that need to be put together with washi tape, and I'm going to do a little bit of that on camera. So these are a couple of pages out of a day planner that I had, and I have just randomly selected 2 pages. I selected these for the color. I thought they went really well, and they have some nice messages on them too. And I'm gonna use this one to put these together. And it will cover up a little bit of the saying on them, but that's okay. It's okay to me. And you know, if you don't want to cover up your sayings or your messages, then I've used smaller washi tape before, and that way that works too. And then I just trim that off. And now my words will be facing the right way. And do that with these sheets too. I like to change up the washi tape and not use the same one on every single piece that I bind together. And sometimes I like to use the tapes that are not my favorites for this, because you don't end up seeing a lot of the washi tape anyway when you bind them in. But I do like to be sure that the colors match, because some of it will show. I already had this. It was a piece out of a photo album, and it was a good size already, so it doesn't need anything done to it really. I'm gonna glue these together with the glue stick, and I'm gonna glue them upside down like that, so that on some of the pages the dots will be at the top and some they'll be at the bottom. And I sometimes like to use dyed papers, tea dyed papers, and sometimes I don't. But I have some tea dyed papers and envelopes and cards and index cards, and I do use those sometimes. I have all the papers ready to go in the signature. I have this envelope. I'm going to start with that first, and I'm just going to be putting them together how I want them to look in the journal. I try to alternate the colors of the washi tape. It doesn't always work out like that, but that's what I try to do. Okay, and then I'm just gonna set them in here and get them where I want them. Just eyeballing the center there. And then I'm going to be binding with this white binding thread. I want to just find my center and poke a hole. And I'm going to go ahead and go through with my needle. I'm going to come down about right here and poke another hole. Going back through. I don't know about you, but this is all sometimes tricky process. When I first started doing this, I would just get shaky and I would think, oh my gosh, what if I can't get this back through? I don't know why I would worry about it like that, because it's not that big of a deal. But I used to just get nervous about it. And I'm going to go back through here in the middle. And I'm going to pull it tight. And I usually go under this here like that, and then do the same thing on the top. I feel like that makes it a little bit more secure. And pull it tight and tie. Just be sure if you have words on your signatures that you put them in right side up when you're sewing them in. So now we have the signatures in. Well, the signature, it's only one. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 papers and 1 envelope. Okay, now I'm going to work on the writing board, and the first thing I need to do with that is cover it with just white copy paper so that this image won't be visible through. Okay, I have it covered with just plain white copy paper, and now I'm gonna just 3 of these wreaths across will fit on here, and that's what I'm gonna put. I'm going to just put this on with a little bit of glue stick, and then I'm gonna sew it on after I finish putting something on the other side, and that way I don't have to get glue all over the fabric. I'm just going to put a little bit more glue wherever there's some wrinkles. I could have ironed this, probably should have. Sometimes I do, but I'm just going to do it this way for now. And that purple glue dries clear, so I don't have to worry about that showing through once it dries. And then I'm going to just cut the excess off. I think that matches really nice with this. Okay, I have cut around this and I've added this on the back. I like to make the writing boards tags a lot of times, so I'm gonna apply this little eyelet to it, and I'm gonna use this fabric, I'm gonna use this ribbon and make a little tassel, and I'm gonna round the edges with my little corner thing. And I haven't done that for the papers in the journal yet. I usually do that. I'm not sure if I will or not. This is awful thick and not really wanting to work. So I don't want to totally tear this up. I sewed around it. I used like a hot pink color on the top, and I used white on the back, which you really can't see too well. I think I need a new sewing machine. It skips stitches sometimes, and I've tried every fix I know. So, and I'm going to put this ribbon through here to make the tassel for the top. This kind of ribbon will kind of fray out on its own, and I like how it does that. I'm going to cover these tags with paper, and I think I'm going to use this. And for simplicity's purposes, I am going to make this tag the same on the front and the back. A lot of times I make them different on the front and back, but just make them the same. And I'm gonna make this a little tag. I'm gonna round the edges. It's too thick to use the little punch. I put this little pink eyelet in there, and I am going to ink the edges of it just a little bit. That's kind of cute. Too big. I think I'm gonna put that one on there. Okay, so I need to let that one dry. And for the second one, I think this will fit on there, so I'm gonna make the front out of this, and then I'll make the back out of something different. I think I'll make the back out of this pink cardstock. I'm gonna round these edges on all 4 corners. I was thinking I might put this in the middle. Ink the edges just a little bit. It's a little darker eyelet than the other one, but can't really tell that. And I have this little bit of t-shirt fabric. I'm going to make the tassel out of that. Well, I hope I am, if it'll go through here. It doesn't really want to go. Oh, it's going to. Yay. Looks like bunny rabbit ears. For this one, I'm going to put one of these little flowers on the front. So there's the writing board, 2 tags. I have this little postcard I'm going to put in there. And I have this butterfly note card that I got several of these at a thrift store. I'm going to put that in there. I really like fairies. This is a flower fairy box, and maybe I'll put a few fairies in there, like maybe that one. She's cute. She'll look cute in there. She'll be cute on the back of a tag. On the back of this tag. I like that. Let's put her there. She's cute, a little ballerina fairy. Look how cute this is. I've used this somewhere else. Okay, I am just gonna do some embellishing in here. A few added touches, and I'm gonna decorate this envelope a little bit with washi tape. And just so the edges stay stuck well, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. think I'm going to put that there. This little piece of fabric and that flower. I want to make a tuck spot out of this handkerchief here. And I'm going to do a few more things to this journal, but I'm not going to overcomplicate it. So I'm just going to do just the basics, and that way I can go ahead and get started on my next video. Sometimes when that air conditioner's on, I don't even notice it. I'm so used to it, and then it clicks off and I think, oh my gosh, the air conditioner was on again. It's just unfortunate that it sits right outside of my sanctuary window. That's what I call this space. It's where I craft and journal and meditate and do yoga. I like to use wax paper in between these pages so that they can dry while I keep on working on the journal and they don't get stuck together. I like these hearts, but I'm going to cover them with these flowers and give it a little bit more dimension on the front and back inside cover on these belly bands, and also it just matches the theme of the journal. So I'm going to go ahead and put one in the back too. And I have a lot more of this lace. It's from a bathrobe my mother made me back when I was in my 20s. I still wear that bathrobe, and she gave me the lace when she gave up crafting, and she gave me everything that was in her stash. So I really like using pieces of that in my journals. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. I truly look forward to it and just love that we can craft together. And I love to hear your comments, and thank you for taking the time to let me know your thoughts. I'm going to make a belly band out of this piece. I know this is a little bit fussy, but I really like the idea of nestling this little fairy and her maybe little sister right here in the middle of these flowers. So I'm going to put her there. This embellishing takes a long time, doesn't it? Because we have to let everything dry, and it just takes time. Hand making things is certainly a process. I'm glad to be getting to use a lot of these things that I have had for so long and just haven't made anything the right color to use them. So this is fun. I wonder, do you like to do that? Like, have stuff in your stash that you've had for a long time, and when you get to use it, it's like a sense of neat satisfaction. And I like, to think about someone had decided that they didn't have a use for these, so they took them to Goodwill or a thrift store, and then I end up getting them, and now they're being used, and I like that. I think that's It's really fun. Just doing a little bit more embellishing. I am going to just fill the journal with the embellishments I have so far, do a clip and do a quick flip through as we go. And I've really enjoyed spending this time with you. Can put the bits and pieces that are left over in this envelope for embellishing later. And clip this little card in with one of these heart paper clips. These are my favorite. I just love those. I have them in a bunch of different colors. And I'm going to clip in these pieces of cardstock. I can use those later. So thank you for spending time with me making this journal. If you made your own, I'd love to know about it. And if you plan to make one, that would be great to know about too. I always enjoy my time visiting with you. I always look forward to it. And I look forward to and hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.